Hi everyone, I'm Nathan with the eBookReader.com. So for this comparison review, we got the Onyx Max 3, and I'm going to compare it to the Onyx Note Pro. So the Max 3 has a 13.3-inch screen, and then the Note Pro has a 10.3-inch ink screen. So the Max comes with some hardware upgrades. It's got an octa-core processor, supports dual-band Wi-Fi. It has a fingerprint sensor for security. And then you've also got the added HDMI port down here. So you got this micro HDMI port so you can plug it to like your computer to use it as a secondary monitor. Where the Note, it just has the USB-C port. So they both have the USB-C. They both have the Wacom touchscreens with the stylus. The overall design is pretty similar. The Note Pro has a glass front screen, and then the Max 3 has a plastic-based front screen. So it does have a little bit more texture when you're writing on the plastic-based screen, and it's just a little bit less reflective, so that's definitely a plus. They both come with a stylus, but the Max 3 comes with this white, thicker stylus. They're both interchangeable. They're both the Wacom stylus, and they both have the same similar feeling tips. But again, the white one's a bit thicker. It's a little bit more comfortable to hold. The only thing is it lacks the button. So the black one has this button on the side. If you hold the button, you can activate the eraser. Otherwise, you turn it around and use the end to erase your lines. So, I mean, they both effectively work the same. It's just a little bit of a different feel with the thicker one. Again, they both have the Wacom touchscreen. There really isn't any perceivable difference at all in sort of performance or anything like that. So, I mean, the only minor difference is there's just a little bit more friction with the plastic screen on the Max 3, so you can has just a little bit more of a resistive feel to it, a little bit slicker on the glass layer of the Note. Here's just sort of a closer look at the text up close. So we got the same contrast settings on here, same PDF on both devices. So just sort of a closer look at the text. There's really not much of a difference to me. So like the Note Pro has 227 ppi and the Max 3 has 207 ppi. So you got a slight resolution increase on the Note, but it's not enough to be noticeable. So another advantage with the Max here is they added OTG support, so you can plug in different adapters if you wanted to use like keyboards or mice or something. So it actually comes with this micro SD adapter, and it's small enough that it'll fit in the device while it's sitting flat on the table. So you got your micro SD card option here, even though it doesn't have one like a slot built in. You do have the option with OTG. Another advantage with the Max 3, of course, is the HDMI port. You can plug it into your computer to use the device as a secondary monitor. So there is a noticeable bit of lag and ghosting when you're using it in monitor mode. So I already uploaded a video showing this, so check that out if you wanted a closer look at the Max 3 in monitor mode. So that's an advantage for it. And then the main advantage for the Note Pro is the fact that it has a front light. So the Max 3 has no front light, and the Note Pro has the multicolored front light. You can adjust from a cool color to a warm color. You can blend the two colors to get kind of a mix between the two. So yeah, a big advantage for the Note Pro is having the front light. So even here in a well-lit room right here with the lights back on, you can tell that the background just a little bit lighter. It gives you a little bit more contrast with the front light. So definitely a big advantage for the Note. So these two devices have effectively the same exact software, even though the Note Pro runs Android 6.0 and the Max runs Android 9.0. They've updated a few things with the user interface, like right here you have your side notes section in the note drawer now. So largely the features are the same, and they're supposed to be updating the Note Pro to Android 4 or Android 9.0 next month. So I'm not really going to cover the differences in software features because they should be the same here pretty soon, other than monitor modes, like the one difference. As you can see here, page turn speed is actually a little bit faster on the Nova or on the Note Pro with the quad core processor. The Max has an octa-core processor, but everything seems to be a little bit faster actually on the Note Pro for the most part. You've also got some differences here, like just the way like the web browser lays out. So this is just sort of like an example of the web browser. So everything scales a lot smaller on the Max's screen. So like there's always bigger margins as well for some reason. And you can't get rid of them either because it's already maxed out with the font size as well. So it's just some sort of scaling with the browser on the Max that makes everything smaller. So it's a little bit less usable in that regards, in my opinion. You can mess with the DPI settings and the optimized settings, but it doesn't change the scaling at all. So that's kind of one difference here with the older software and the new software. You had the option to optimize from the app drawer right here, so you could set the custom DPI settings and set up different refresh settings. For some reason, they don't have that on the Max, but they do have it if you use the navigation thing at the bottom. You can actually adjust it in app. So one of the features with the Neo Reader software on Onyx's devices, the ability to use split screen mode. So with the 9.0 software here, they have the ability to view 2 documents at once. So that's definitely an advantage. So they should be adding that to the Note here soon as well. So they also have the full features with the app here. You got new recognition settings for reflow, and you also got like the different templates with the Android 9.0 software. So the older software, you had like a more watered down side note feature. So again, I'm not really going to get into the software stuff a whole lot because they're supposed to be updating the Note to the same software. So all these things should change. They should be the same, I mean, with the between the two models here in the future. So, I mean, overall, the performance between these devices is very similar. It mostly just comes down to the difference with the hardware. So you got the bigger screen with the Max, you got the fingerprint sensor, support for dual band Wi-Fi, and it's also got that monitor mode feature, of course, and OTG support. So that's the main difference between these two devices, of course. And then you got the front light on the Note Pro. So I'm a big fan of the front light. So still with the 10.3-inch screen, here's the same PDF on both of them, just to get an idea of how they scales out differently. So you can use the zooming modes. Onyx has a whole plethora of zooming options and layout options for PDFs, so that's definitely an advantage. And then when you have the margins cropped here, so you can get the size very similar even with the smaller screen. Just sort of depends on how your PDFs are laid out, how big the margins are, if you want to use a full size view or if you want to crop the margins at all. So just sort of a difference between the two sizes. I still think the 10.3-inch model is perfectly adequate for reading PDFs, but if you're like really hardcore PDF reader, you might want the bigger screen. Also better with the bigger screen is the side note feature, like the 2 pages at once in landscape mode. So there's also the 7.8-inch Nova Pro. So it's got the same software, largely the same as both of these devices. It's got half the storage space and RAM, but otherwise it's very similar as well. Just got the smaller 7.8-inch unique screen. So this has been a look at the Note Pro and the Max 3. I just wanted to show like the main differences between these two. Again, mostly comes down to the hardware differences, the new features that they added to the Max 3, and then the front light on the Note Pro. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Check out the ebookreader.com for full reviews of both these devices for a closer look at the software in action. Bye.